This is One Man's Family. One Man's Family is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Today transcribed, we present Chapter 6, Book 71, entitled, A Very, Very Tough Stepfather Indeed. All unaware of the night of tension and anxiety in the city, the vacationing Barbers at the Sky Ranch awake to utter peace and relaxation. It's early morning at the family home in Seacliff also, with breakfast just out of the way and Paul gone somewhere on a mission of his own. Father Barbour left to his own devices, while Claudia and Nicky relax in the warm morning sun on the terrace, where it overlooks the Golden Gate and across to the brown California hills of Marin County. Oh, yes, and Jones upstairs, still sleeping 13 to the dozen.
Look out over the seawall, Nicky. The bay's pure emerald this morning.
With a million sparkles dancing on it. It's going to be too warm here on the terrace before long.
Oh, not for me. When you get days like this in San Francisco, it's a shame to be inside.
Oh, yes.
You beginning to unwind, too, after all that tension over Joan yesterday?
Quite. Speaking of Joan, how exhausted can a girl get? She slept almost around the clock.
I looked in on her before I came out. There were little beads of perspiration all around her hairline, and she was simply dead to the world.
Probably a bit of emotional upset along with the physical hardship in her experience.
Of course. Imagine being trapped all night on that ledge. Nothing but bathing suits to protect them from the cold morning fog, and all the time the waves reaching up for them.
Quite. The ocean can be a very frightening playfellow if he gets you at a disadvantage.
And nothing to do but wait and worry and shiver.
Quite.
She said it was only because of the Arthur boy that she stood up as well as she did.
Oh, yes, Ken Arthur. Evidently a pretty solid lad.
That's what I tried to tell Dad. Honestly, Nicky, his attitude toward Joan is anything but helpful.
I know. He still seems to have some doubt about the whole thing.
If he keeps on, I think Paul may really tell him off.
I'm glad you're able to contain yourself.
Oh, I don't want to quarrel with Dad. Besides, with Paul beginning to burn at Dad's attitude.
Yes. I sensed the tension between them when Paul left this morning.
I wanted Paul to sleep late. He needed it. But he had something on his mind.
Well, he's planning to go up to the Sky Ranch, isn't he?
I think so.
It'd be good, you know.
Nicky, isn't that the telephone?
I didn't hear it.
That's the second time I thought I heard it ring.
It's hard to hear it out here. Well, Father Barbour's in the library. The phone's right beside him. He'll answer it.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we shouldn't call up the Sky Ranch. They haven't any idea what we've been through down here.
Then why disturb them? Glad to put in a call if you think it's any good.
Okay, but I do want to call before we go back. See if I should pick up any supplies. Oh, that'll come later. I'm too lazy to move just now. Oh.
You know, that's a very becoming dress. What do you call that?
Oh, just a little cotton off-the-shoulder sundress. You've seen it before.
Yes, but I... Ah, Father Barbour.
Oh, come on out, Dad.
Yes.
How can you sit in the house when it's so perfect out here?
Oh, I've been reading the paper. It is pleasant, isn't it? Almost too warm.
Dad, did the phone ring a little while ago?
Yes.
Who was it?
Huh?
Well, I was wondering if someone had called from the Sky Ranch.
Oh, hadn't thought of that.
What?
I say, I hadn't thought of that. It might have been.
Might? Didn't you answer it?
No, Claudia, I didn't.
But, Dad, why not?
I assumed that it was that grease monkey again.
Who?
You mean Ken Arthur?
Yeah, whatever his name is.
You mean you've already talked to him once this morning?
I did, yes. Can you imagine the effrontery of that fellow to call here after what he's done?
But what has he done?
Yes, Father Barbour. Nothing happened last night for which he could be held to account. Or do you know something beyond our knowledge?
Well, you know as many facts as I do.
That's what I thought.
But why did he call? And what did you say to him, Dad?
I said very little. I couldn't trust myself.
Well, you did find out what he wanted, though, didn't you?
He wanted to talk to Joan, naturally.
What did you say to him?
I told him Joan was asleep. I was tempted to say a good deal more, but I restrained myself. I was afraid if I heard his voice once more, however, that I wouldn't be so successful in controlling my tongue.
And so you just didn't answer the phone?
That's one way to avoid unpleasantness.
Dad, that's ridiculous.
Huh? You approve of that fellow having anything further to do with Joan?
Oh, see here, Father Barbour. Claudia and I rather admire the boy.
Huh?
Well, certainly. It was just one of those things. It wasn't his fault any more than it was Joan's. It was silly for them to get trapped by the tide, but beyond that, I think they both acted like pretty responsible citizens.
Responsible citizens. Sitting on a rock all night in bathing garb, too insignificant to be called a garment, and you say responsible citizens.
Father Barbour, just who are you mad at? Joan and Ken Arthur or the latest accepted styles in swimming paraphernalia?
Beach attire is downright scandalous.
I disagree, Dad, but what's all that got to do with Ken Arthur?
Get rid of him. Don't let him put any more temptation in Joan's way.
Temptation?
That's what I said, temptation. That girl needs surveillance and a tight rein. For what she has just been through should tell you that far plainer than anything I can say.
Oh, Dad.
And if that fellow was so wise and good and thoughtful, why did he get Joan and himself in such a fix in the beginning?
No one's claiming the boy's infallible.
And once they were trapped, no other course was open.
Perhaps not, but there's a course open to you now. You can make sure it doesn't happen again.
You mean take her back up to the Sky Ranch with us?
Exactly.
Well, she's going to rebel against that.
Has she ever been anything but rebellious?
Yes. These few weeks she's been here with Paul, she's demonstrated that she's capable of being a very cooperative and loving girl.
Nicholas, how can you and Claudia be so blind? She's had her way. Paul has indulged her, and she's led a carefree life. Naturally, she feels cooperative and loving. Well, what child wouldn't?
She's not a child.
I say she is. The law says she is.
Oh, dear, you got me so confused. I don't know what to think.
Oh, see here, my dear.
Well, she's your daughter, and you do as you see fit. But if she were mine, I'd put an end to this experiment of Paul's, and I wouldn't hesitate a minute about it either.
And slap Paul square in the face?
Yes, Dad. If we take Joan back now, it's saying, in effect, to Paul that we can't trust him with Joan.
And so you can't.
Dad, that's ridiculous.
Well, he's really toiled in the vineyard where Joan's concerned. We couldn't do this to him.
Are his feelings of more concern to you than your own child's welfare?
But there's Joan's feelings, too. She'll be in complete rebellion if we sever this relationship now.
Can't you see, Dad, that it's like saying we don't trust her anymore? That maybe we don't believe her story about what happened. Because if we do believe it, and I have no reason not to, then we have to hold her blameless.
Precisely. So we say, we know what you did couldn't be helped, but just the same, you come on home with us. Well, it doesn't make sense.
And what happens next time when she's not so blameless, huh? Have you ever tried locking these particular barn doors after the horse is stolen?
Oh, I don't know, Nicky. I don't know.
I do. I say that in the face of the proof we've had to date, I'll gamble that we have no reason either to lock the barn doors nor to fear for the safety of the horses.
He's willing to gamble.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, Joan, darling. Good morning. We're on the terrace.
Yes, I saw you while I was dressing.
Morning, Joan. Fanny, get enough sleep?
Oh, I thought I'd never wake up. Hello, Grandfather.
Good morning, Joan.
Why didn't you wake me up, Claudia?
When you were so tired? I should think not.
Oh, where's Paul?
He had to go out. He said he'd be back before too long.
How about breakfast? Are you starved?
Oh, I'll get myself something pretty quick. What's the matter, Grandfather?
Huh?
You've got such a fierce expression on your face.
Fierce?
Oh, did Ken call me this morning? I'm kind of anxious to talk to him since our adventure. I wonder if he slept as much as I did.
Well, I imagine he was pretty tired, too, Joan.
I guess maybe I'd better phone him. Maybe he's been afraid to call here.
No, he called while you were asleep. Your grandfather talked to him.
Oh, what did he say, Grandfather?
As for you, I told him you were sleeping.
Well, how's he feeling?
I haven't the faintest idea. I didn't ask him.
Well, didn't he say anything?
He said he'd call back later.
How long ago did he call?
Hour or so, I guess.
And he hasn't called back?
We don't know, John.
Gee, that's funny.
I think it's only fair to tell you, Joan, that the telephone rang a couple of times and no one answered it. It may have been here.
You didn't answer it because you didn't want to talk to him, is that it?
It wasn't Nicky. We were out here on the terrace.
I was the one who didn't answer, young lady. And for the precise reason you gave. Because I didn't want to talk to him. If your parents won't tell you, I will. The sooner you break off with that man, the better it's going to be for everyone concerned.
What has he done?
Joan, darling.
I'm talking to Grandfather. What has Ken done? Well, answer me, Grandfather.
Isn't that a pretty ridiculous question in view of what has taken place?
No, it's not, and I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no intention of arguing. You'll have to settle this with your mother and Nicholas.
Settle what, Claudia? What's there to settle?
Your grandfather feels that you should come back up to the Sky Ranch with us.
And leave Paul and my job?
It's quite all right, Joan, dear. We've made no decision yet.
Have you told Paul this?
No, we were just talking it over now before you came out.
I see.
Joan, where are you going?
I'm going in the house. I don't want to say anything that'll make Paul ashamed of me. And I sure will if I stay out here. No, please don't come in, Claudia.
Yes. Headstrong. Headstrong and willful.
On the wide new porch at Sky Ranch this Sunday morning, a few of the less enterprising Barbers are lingering over their coffee, glancing at the Sunday papers. Except for Andrew, called Skippy, and his motor scooter, the children are out in the swimming pool. Mother Barbara has gone back upstairs with the Sunday magazine. Betty has just gone to help Nicolette with the triplets' bath, leaving Jack, Dan, and Hazel on the porch.
There's a strange feeling this morning. What is it?
Sunday, that's all, Hazel. There's always a queer atmosphere about Sunday.
No, I don't know what it is. It seems quieter than usual.
Hazel, my lovely.
You want something, do you, Dan?
How'd you guess?
I've been married to you long enough to recognize an especially endearing tone. You want your coffee warmed up?
Mind reader.
Jack, whenever he says Hazel, my lovely, in just that tone,
Yeah.
I know he wants his slippers or a match or another cup of coffee.
If that doesn't sound cynical, now give me a kiss. What are you reading with such absorption, Jack?
You say something, Dan?
Why, he's reading the women's page.
Oh, I'm looking at these pictures of bridegrooms. Look at this happy, silly face, Dan.
Yeah.
And this one. Isn't that a carefree, unsuspecting face? And look at these. 4 of them with their brides, happy and smug as larks.
Now, that'd be something to see. A smug lark.
Well, don't you think they should look happy? Those are wedding pictures.
Oh, sure, but I was just wondering.
What?
I was wondering how I looked on my wedding day. Did I have a silly-ass grin on my puss like these, do you suppose?
Well, you certainly had a happy expression.
What's eating you?
It's a good thing we can't see into the future, you know what? Suppose a guy getting married knew in advance he was going to have 6 daughters. Do you suppose he could grin like that and look happy as a lark?
A smug lark, that is.
Jack, you aren't sorry you have 6 daughters.
Oh, certainly not. But I was just thinking, 6 weddings coming up, all at my expense.
You're worrying a little early, aren't you? You've got 15 or 20 years to get ready for the first one.
Oh, I'll be able to swing the first one. It's the other 5 I'm worrying about.
Oh, good morning, Cliff.
Hi. Where's the sports section? Anybody know?
I got a Cliff right here.
He hasn't been reading it, however. He's studying the women's section.
Well, why shouldn't he? He's a ladies' man, aren't you, fella?
I'll say I am. 6 daughters, a wife, and Nicolette. 1 lone male surrounded by 8 dames.
When you get in that state of mind, my boy, you need to go off on a fishing trip.
I can't afford it.
Coffee, Clifford?
Have you got plenty?
I think so.
What's the matter, Hazel?
I don't know. Everything seems sort of odd this morning.
Yeah, I've been thinking, too. Oh, thank you. Anybody hear Nicky and Claudia pull out of here for the city before dawn? What got into them?
Don't know. Didn't hear any notions like that when they said goodnight last evening.
Somebody said they left a note.
Yeah, they did. They just said Claudia was restless, and they decided to go into the city for a couple of days.
Hazel, maybe you've got something. Wonder if everything's all right at home.
Well, don't you think they'd call up if it wasn't?
Maybe somebody did call. Maybe that's why Claudia was restless.
What time did you leave San Francisco, Cliff?
Andy and I pulled out of there just about dawn. We saw Dad for just a moment, still in bed.
Was everything all right the night before?
Yeah, Joan was out with some guy, and Dad had a summer cold. He called it an allergy. I don't know. Let's put in a call and see if everything's all right.
I've tried twice to call them, but there's been no answer.
Well, let's try it again.
Well, the operator said she'd call me in 20 minutes.
Hey, look, haven't you guys got enough to worry about without whipping up something? Everything's all right in the city. It's just Sunday. Hey, I know what's the matter with you, Hazel.
I wish you'd tell me.
No mail today.
Well, what's that got to do with anything?
Hazel just lives from one mail delivery to another, waiting for a letter from Pinky.
I'm not that bad, I hope.
How about that, Dan?
You expect me to make a comment?
The Germans have a word for it. Fluttermutter.
That's pronounced Fluttermutter.
As a matter of fact, there is no such German word. I looked it up once. Fluttermutter is a Midwestern colloquialism. It means hysterical mother.
Well, how'd you happen to look it up?
Someone else called me a fluttermutter.
Why, that's nasty. Who'd do a thing like that?
Yes.
Not an old husband of yours. Daniel, you mustn't call your wife a fluttermutter. Them's fighting words, pal.
Let her brothers do it, you mean?
Now, look, all of you. I have only a perfectly natural concern about Pinky. When a boy's hundreds of miles away from his home with a bunch of rough characters like lumberjacks, homesick and underpaid and overworked, well, any person with any sensitivity'd worry about him.
Maybe we better go, Jack.
Yeah?
No, I'm not going to say any more. You men.
What do you mean, you men?
Oh, this notion you have of toughening a boy up, putting him right out where it's really good and rugged. I don't know why it's necessary to break his heart just to make a man of him.
Hey, we don't want to break his heart.
No, we didn't send him up there.
Well, you all agreed with Dan. You know you did. Dan doesn't even think we should write him letters. He wants him to get really homesick.
At the risk of getting a swift poke in the eye, I still think it was a good idea.
Why, sure, Hazel. When he's peeled his last potato and come home again, that lumber camp will be the biggest thing that ever happened to him.
Dan, get in there and pitch. We're fighting your battles for you.
Everybody does the best he can, Hazel.
I know, Dan. I'm sorry.
I just don't want Avis to soften up now. I think it'd be bad for Pinky if we did. He wanted to get away from all of us this summer. Well, let him see what it's like. His Father Barbour says it's cold outside. Let him find that out.
Just a tough stepfather.
Okay.
I'll get it.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
Who's that?
Andrew called Skippy, son of Clifford.
You getting it?
Yeah, Dad, and my scooter broke down. I need some help. Hello? Oh, just a minute.
Hey, somebody, it's long distance.
That's my call. I'm coming, Skippy. It's for me.
It's Colette.
Colette. Seacliff?
Seacliff?
That's on.
Hey, that's completely haywire. Why would anybody do that?
Let me take it, Skippy. Andy, I'm sorry. I never can remember. Hello? Yes. Yes. Yes, this is Mrs. Murray. A collect call from where? Wilderness Lumber Camp, Siskiyou County? Oh, certainly. We'll accept it.
Siskiyou County, that's Pinky.
Yeah, we should have known.
Hello? Hello? Hello, darling. Well, Pinky, is everything all right? How's that cut on your... What? Oh, we're fine. Yes, Dan and Cliff and Jack are right here. They'll all want to speak... What? Yes, we had one taken yesterday, dear. Yes, both of us.
Uh-oh.
You want to speak to Dan? Oh, just a minute. Come here, Dan. It's Pinky. He wants to speak to you.
Coming. Excuse me.
Oh, no. We'll come along and get in on this, too.
Sure, let's all get in on it.
You have my permission.
Yes, Pinky, dear. Here's Dan now. Here.
Thanks. Hello, Pinky, old boy. How are you? You bet we did. We got your letter yesterday, went right down to the photographer's. In the mail by Tuesday. We got a guarantee on it. Yes. Well, how you doing anyhow? Yeah?
Hazel, what's this photographer business?
Yes, Pinky.
Pinky wanted a picture of Dan and me.
Oh, is that so now?
You and Dan went down and had one taken?
Have to be tough with the boy, you know, Cliff.
Wait a minute, Pinky. People are talking. What did you say, Pinky?
Let me speak to him. Hey, sure, don't be selfish. Hey, Pinky, hi. Something's just happened your old man's never going to hear the last of.
Let me take it. Hi. Pink? Hiya, son. It's Uncle Cliff. You want a picture of me, too, fella?
Hey, I just thought of a cute remark.
No, wait, I'm not through.
Come on.
Hey, which one of you's the biggest kid?
My goodness, yes. Now, you two run along. We want to talk to Pinky. Give me that phone.
She grabbed the receiver right out of my hand.
Hello, Pinky. How's your stub toe?
Oh, well, how much horseplay can you have?
Sure. Let's get out of here.
Wait till I tell the family about this. Spatial pictures taken to send to Pinky. Oh, hi, Andy. What's wrong in your department?
My motor scooter broke down. I can't fix it.
Oh, that's pretty tough.
All of a sudden, it just won't run.
You can't have that. Come on, we'll see what we can do about it.
Don't you want to come too, Uncle Jack?
Sorry, Skippy. I'm a father myself. I gotta go upstairs and see how my 6 little dames are doing.
I wheeled it down from the stable. Quit up there at the stable.
Well, let's see now. Ignition. Plenty gas?
Sure. I had a full tank yesterday.
Register's half full. Well, I'll try the starter.
That's the way it sounds all the time now. Just kind of dead.
Well, don't you worry, fella. We'll fix it.
Do you understand all about motors?
Not a heck of a lot, but if I can't do it, somebody can. Oh, hey. Hey, look here.
What?
See this little wire?
Yeah?
It slipped off right there. You see? You weren't getting any spark.
Will that fix it, Dad?
I think so.
Gee, does it?
Well, hold everything. There now. All right, now try it.
Yeah, thanks a million. Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome, Andy.
So long. See you later.
I got it fixed, huh?
Loose connection.
Have you got an old picture of yourself anywhere?
Well, I guess so. What?
We ought to get a picture from everybody in the family, have them autographed, and hang them on Dan's wall.
He's a tough guy, isn't he?
Did you see his face when he was talking to Pinky? Mushy.
Yeah, it's kind of nice at that, Jack.
Oh, sure, but we oughtn't let him get away with it entirely. Didn't even want people to write Pinky letters. Oh, no?
I guess Pinky kind of buttered him up. Hey, he isn't still talking.
Sure, person-to-person collect. It'll cost $9.
Oh, here comes Hazel.
Got a few stars in her eyes, too, looks like.
Oh, he sounded just wonderful. He's gained 3 pounds.
Well, potatoes will do it every time.
Oh, stop laughing, Jack. You don't know what this has done for me. Oh, Nicolette, wait a minute. I'll go up to the nursery with you. We just been talking to Pinky. What that poor child's been through.
Here comes the Sky Ranch motor scooter taxi service. All rides free.
Oh, are they free?
They are if you don't happen to have any money in your pocket. I had a free ride to the mailbox yesterday. Hey, I hear your picnic with Roberta Evans wasn't a howling success.
Oh, anything but.
Too bad. She's a nice gal.
Am I blind?
Well,
I'm just getting acquainted with my son. I'm not going to upset the apple cart now.
Hey, Dad, you fixed the line.
Yeah, motor sounds okay.
looking for any ideas?
No, Jack, it's my problem. I got to work it out myself.
Well, we all liked her. Don't miss out on that deal. You going for a swim?
Later. I'll see what Andy's got in mind.
Well, I'm going to go get in my trunk.
You want to ride anywhere?
Might. You got any ideas?
Yeah. I was just thinking something, Dad. Well, if you want me to... Well, like you said, if...
No, come on. What's on your mind?
Well, if you want me to go with you and Miss Evans to a show, well, I'd go, and I'd try to talk to her more this time.
Well, what brought this on?
Well, you do stuff for me, and... Well, I just assume...
Do you mean it?
Sure.
You want to go in now and call her up and make a date with her?
Huh? You want me to?
Now, you know what you're getting in for, don't you? If we have one date with her, we'll have some more.
That's okay, Dad.
Well, come on. What are we waiting for?
I'll leave the scooter right here.
Well, now, don't let anybody push you around, Pinky.
Well, I'll be doggone.
Well, hello, operator, don't cut me off.
Is Uncle Dan still talking to Pinky long distance?
Collect?
Hello, Pinky? All right. Well, you do your work, give them their money's worth, and stick it out. But you tell that big cook Orsatti, if he uses that kind of language again, he'll hear from the front office, and I'll guarantee it. Yeah, that's right, son. You do your work now, and... Oh, Pinky, how you fix for money?
Hey, Andy.
Yeah?
Let's tiptoe out and come back in again when this is all over.
Why?
It isn't polite to listen to rough, tough Daniel Murray talking to his stepson. Long distance. Collect.
And a few minutes later, after Dan had finally hung up, the phone rang again. It was Claudia in the city calling Mother Barbour.
Hello. Hello, is that you, Mom? Claudia. Well, I thought you might be worried. That's why I called. No, everybody's fine. Oh, Nicky and I just thought it would be nice to get down to town for a day or so. We're here with Dad. Oh, you did? Well, we were out on the terrace. I guess we didn't hear it ring. Hmm? Oh, Dad's fine. We'll drive up later today and bring him with us. Paul and Joan? Well, I don't know. Paul's out right now. And I just heard the front door. Yes, he's just coming in. Hi.
How yourself?
I'm talking to Mom at the Sky Ranch. Just a minute, Mom. I'm talking to Paul. All right. She wants to know if you're coming up.
I think so, yeah. I want to talk to Joan first.
He says he thinks so. All right, Mom. Say hello to Penny and Skippy. Tell them we'll be up sometime after lunch. All right. Bye.
Joan still sleeping?
No, she's up.
Where is she?
She went to her room. Dad and Nicky are out on the terrace. I'm glad you're home, Paul. Dad has got me in a tizzy over Joan.
What's he up to now?
Well, he's making us perfectly miserable over leaving Joan down here. He won't leave it alone. Honestly, I'm so confused I don't really know what's best now.
What does Nicky think about it?
He's all for you. And so am I, really. But believe me, Paul, if Joan does come back up with us, it isn't because we don't feel that you've been good for Joan. It's just that, well...
That you feel after what happened I'm not qualified to look after her.
I don't feel that at all. Oh, Paul, what do you think is best?
Well, under the circumstances, I don't think my opinion is worth very much.
You're angry.
Of course not, Claude. I'm disappointed, that's all. I had such high hopes for Joan and felt so good about it, and suddenly it all seems to have blown up. Why? Because of a perfectly innocent lark? Because of something they couldn't help? Surely you don't think it was anything but innocent, do you?
No, I don't.
Still, you want to make Joan feel guilty by carting her off up to the Sky Ranch. You might just as well come right out and say you don't trust her. If you take her now, that's what it's going to mean to Joan. And I shudder to think how it's going to affect her.
I do trust her, and I want her love, but I'd never forgive myself if anything happened to her. Don't you see? I'm trying to do what's best for her.
Well, what has just happened gave you some terrible anxiety, and I don't want to influence you if you feel that you should take Joan. You're a mother, after all. I don't want you to do anything against your wishes or your better judgment.
But I don't know what to do.
You mean then it's only what Dad has said that mixed you up?
I'm afraid so.
He say anything to Joan?
Yes. As a matter of fact, he's been pretty awful all morning.
Is that why Joan went up to her room?
She was pretty upset. I told her we'd been talking about having her come up to the Sky Ranch with us for the rest of the summer.
Look, Claude, if you and Nicky decide that's what you want to do, I'll not have another word to say on the matter. But if you do this because you feel that's what Dad wants, that's something else again.
I wish you'd talk to him, Paul. I want to get this cleared up once and for all. It's too wearing on everybody to keep going round and round about it.
You're right. You say they're out on the terrace?
Yes.
Let's go. Come on.
Let's try to settle it as amicably as possible.
Well, sometimes a little hard to be amicable when Dad gets going. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, Paul. Just back from your jaunt?
You look comfortable.
I talked to Mom.
Everything blooming up there, I hope?
Yeah, you tell your mother I was coming up with you today?
Yes, Dad.
Yeah, better begin getting ready pretty soon, I imagine. You going up, Paul?
Well, I don't know. That depends on what's decided about Joan.
I just told Paul about our discussion with Dad, Nicky, and I think we should decide what to do right now.
I agree with him.
I don't think that we should have anything to say about it, Paul. Joan is Nicholas and Claudia's problem, not ours.
You seem to have been making it your problem all morning, if I understood Claudia correctly. She tells me that you're doing your level best to make them take Joan away from here. I know how you felt right from the start, but now I find you got Claudia so disturbed she doesn't know what to do.
Well, I've given them my opinion, yes, just as I've given it to you. Is there anything wrong in that?
Not in giving an opinion, no. But there's something very definitely wrong in hurting Joan, which is going to happen if your opinion is followed.
Yes, there's no use in our going over this, Paul. We'll never see eye to eye on this.
That doesn't interest me in the least. My only concern is Joan. That girl's life can be ruined right here in these next few minutes if the wrong step is made. If she ever needed trust and affection and a real show of love, it's now. Good grief, the girl hasn't done anything. Are you going to punish her for something she hasn't done?
Well, why talk of punishment? Is being here with her own mother and Nicholas here instead of you so dreadful?
You know very well that'll be her interpretation of it. To her, it'll be a punishing act. She's innocent of any wrongdoing, and yet the axe falls just the same. Think of the warped feelings that'll bring about.
I think Paul's absolutely right, Claudia.
So do I. I don't know how I could have been so stupid not to see it.
Yes, well, I'm still stupid then because my mind is unchanged despite Paul's emotional outburst.
Now, Dad, let's not...
One moment, if you please. Has the oracle spoken and there can be no reply? My ears should entitle me to a word or two, even if you don't have any respect for my opinion.
Oh, go ahead, Dad.
Yes. I don't know whether Joan has cast some kind of spell over Paul that he is so blind to her blandishments or what, but...
Now, Dad, I'm not going to sit here and have you talk as though Joan has done something sly or underhanded or furtive, because it's simply not the truth. There has not been one single instance from the time she moved into this house with me that she hasn't been completely honest and forthright. She has never covered up nor tried any kind of dodge. Now, I know, Dad, and you don't, because you haven't been here most of the time. So let's keep prejudices that you formed in the past out of this present situation. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I just wanted to get that straight. Go ahead.
Yeah? No, thank you. I have nothing more to say. Now, Nicholas, you might let me know when you're ready to leave for the Sky Ranch. You'll find me in my room.
Well, here we go again. Same old thing. I'm sorry, but times when I just can't take it.
I know. Well, let's just forget it. Joan is going to stay here with you, and that is that.
Right-ho. And if she doesn't come off with flying colors, just put me down as the worst prophet that ever opened his big mouth.
You've just heard Chapter 8, Book 71 of One Man's Family, written, produced, and transcribed under the direction of Carlton E. Morse. Chapter 9, entitled Father Barbour's Rampage and What Came of It, will come to you next week at this same hour. One Man's Family comes to you from California.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.